Alicia and I have been married for almost 25 years. Next July, it'll be 25 years. But your upbringing here was really cool. You were born and raised in this area. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about from birth to 3 years after college.
Oh gosh. Okay. And I'll try to condense it as much as possible. Okay. So
Please
born
do.
and raised. Yeah. Right here. I'm right here. Actually I was born in Linwood, but my parents lived in kind of the Hamilton / Concrete / Lyman area. If you know where that is, it's off the North Cascades Highway. My parents were hippies, believe it or not. And my dad built our house with a handsaw. He was very, very handy. He was the kind of person that he would set his mind to anything and he would figure it out and he would do it. So he built our house from the time I was born to I think around 4. We didn't have any running water or electricity, which I have absolutely no idea how my mom did that. Like reflecting back on having littles and just not having access to that, I cannot even imagine. So they were really roughing it. Unfortunately, they divorced when I was around 5 and moved to Mount Vernon. Lived there until 8. She met my stepdad. Love him. Dave, shout out to you. And we moved to Seattle, North Seattle. So I kind of went back and forth because my dad lived here in Snohomish. Actually, kind of crazy enough, he lived within like a mile of where we are right now. So went back and forth between North Seattle and my dad's in Snohomish, then ended up going to Central Washington University. So went there and I actually was a Spanish major and a business communications minor. And I loved the culture. I loved the language. And I was like, I want to leave. I want to go somewhere and learn really how to speak this language and learn the culture. And so my mom was freaking out, understandably so, as I would if my girls came to me with this.
How old were you?
I was 20, I believe, 19 or 20 when I left. So I spent my junior / part of my senior year of college in Chile, South America. And it was a blast. I learned more in that year than any of my years of college combined, because you get out of your little bubble. We live in a bubble here, just in case you didn't know. And it's good to get out of that bubble and get out of that comfort zone and go experience other cultures and other people and other ways of life. And you learn a lot about yourself and you learn a lot about the world. And so that was an amazing experience. And that gave me a little bit of bug after I graduated to travel. So I actually had a job for a telecommunications company where I got to travel quite a bit all over Latin America. I visited almost every country, got to use the language, and it was fun. And then I met you, and I quit because I didn't want to be traveling so much.
She was a, I joke a lot about how she's this cute little petite person, but she, when I joke, I say she may look, small and cute and everything, but she can be really mean.
Pack a lot of punch.
Yeah, it's like she worked not only in a crazy way, like her industry, this big corporate thing as a young 20s girl, but she did it in the most machismo cultures in our world, and she did it, and it was pretty awesome to watch. But when we started dating, it became evident pretty quick that I think we wanted to be more together. And so you stopped working. You actually came to work at my family business,
yes.
which was a real challenge. There's no secret about that. We got married. You came to work for us.
It was a few months before we got married.
Yeah, a few months before we got married. But I remember many times once we got married, driving to and from work together with tears in the car. It was a challenge, and I appreciate you taking that on and doing that. I do recognize the challenge in it. But then fast forward a little bit, we have a couple of kids, and you are a stay-at-home mom for several years.
Yes.
And
huge transition.
Yeah. Harder job?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, I've had lots of jobs. I will say that being a stay-at-home mom is one of the most challenging jobs because you don't have, that instant recognition or pat on the back. You have little toddlers screaming at you all day, and you don't have the reward of later on quite yet. So it's a lot of that hard grunt work up front of raising children and just being completely exhausted 24/7. You're on the job. So it's a lot. And to go from working to that, you kind of have a little bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah.
So